Hey there, everyone. Ervin here, bringing you a breakdown on the newly released MLS-4X Commando in Helldivers 2. This support weapon has been hard fought for over on the swamps of X45. While we've gotten a chance to test it out briefly, I'll be bringing you all the information on this new weapon that you could ever want, including how effective it is against both the automatons as well as the Terminids. Now, this support weapon was my absolute favorite anti-tank solution in the first game, but how good is it now, really? Well, let's take a look at its technical specifications, target effectiveness, and damage breakpoints to find out. As is the case with all of my breakdowns, all thoughts on viability and testing was performed on difficulty 9 Helldive, giving you the most accurate information on how these weapons hold up in the endgame. The Commando is a disposable quad barreled laser guided rocket launcher. This laser guided system is actually quite competent and doesn't crash my game, as I was pretty happy about that. Although, if you are in the middle of combat and think you might need to make some quick adjustments to your position immediately after your shots, you're going to want to toggle this off by holding reload and shoot it just like you would any other recoilless launcher. Going over its probably most unique and crowning feature, the Commando is capable of destroying enemy spawners. Specifically, it is capable of destroying enemy fabricators from any angle thanks to its 40 demolition force, just like the Spear can. I know I recently covered the Spear, calling it the king of bot blitz mission convenience, but I have to say that this weapon's ability to destroy heavy bases from any angle is a pretty huge deal. These will only ever spawn with a maximum of 4 fabricators, and you've got 4 rockets that can blow them up from any direction, one after another, with no reloading or target locking in between. Honestly, it doesn't get any more convenient than that, so I'll be using this new color in my color coded hierarchy to describe what peak performance looks like above teal. I also want to again clarify that this is not because the commando has the same penetration as the spear. It does not. It simply has the required demolition force of 40 to do this, which is not enough to destroy, say, a detector tower. Now, this launcher being disposable means we need to talk about its cooldown. Where the EATs have a cooldown of 70 seconds, this launcher sports a 120 or 2-minute cooldown base instead. Granted, you are receiving twice the rockets all in one package. This is more or less a balanced trade off overall. With a 40-minute mission, that also means that you'll be looking at calling in a potential 80 or so rockets to fire each round, which is quite a lot of firepower when you think about it. It's also going to be important for us to talk about the damage this thing deals as well, of course. The Commando, unlike the EATs and recoilless rifle rockets, will only be dealing 450 ballistic and 150 explosive damage instead of 650 ballistic. Funny enough, though, this 200 damage difference does not change a huge amount of breakpoints for our enemies, making this shot for shot better than the EATs more often than not. The armor penetration levels are also the exact same at level 6 for the ballistic portion of the damage and level 3 for the explosive portion, which is enough to get through just about anything, at least for our 450 ballistic damage anyway. The explosive area of effect carried by each rocket also mirrors the spear with an inner blast radius carrying the full 150 damage of 1.5 meters and an outer radius of 3 meters dealing between 149 and 0. Basically, no collateral kills with this thing, but that's okay. This weapon is meant for precise high threat target elimination and not for horde clear. Stagger and pushing force wise, the projectile itself is going to be carrying a massive 50 points of stagger force with 25 points of pushing force, which is enough to heavily stagger even Bile Titans. Anything taking hits from the commando under the weight class of a factory strider is going to find itself unable to retaliate under repeated shots. So, full marks for crowd controlling the opponents here. The initial velocity of the commando also mimics the spear at only 70 ms before rapidly speeding off towards the target. With the laser designation system turned off, you'll need to lead your targets appropriately as needed. With it on, however, at long distances, you may find this weapon extremely easy to land shots with. You're likely to see anywhere between a 6 to 12% reduction in damage on targets beyond 100 meters, but this should affect none of your breakpoints, so don't worry about the fall off. Obviously, there's no ammo economy for a disposable launcher, but I will mention here briefly it's going to be important to either stick with your team handling some long term support weapons while running this thing, or utilize this launcher to supplement other anti tank options already in your loadout, as 4 rockets per 2 minute cooldown is going to put you in some stressful situations if it's your only anti tank option available. Basically, treat this like a more conveniently packaged DAT deployment. Well, the technical specifications went by pretty fast this time considering the weapon's disposable nature, so let's get into the meat of the discussion with the damage breakpoints for every enemy in the game that you'll likely want to use this thing on. First off, we see that the tanks and cannon turrets eliminate in just 2 shots from any angle, which is not the best, not my favorite way to spend half our shots, but reasonable if you find yourself in need of some personal tank clearing power, I suppose. Hulks will go down in just one well placed headshot, just like the recoilless EATs and Quasar Cannon, despite dealing 200 less damage. Gotta love the magic of breakpoints, eh? Besides that, if you don't have an optimal angle, you can disable the Hulk's arms or legs in 2 hits each, as well as destroy it through its back heatsink in just 2 rockets, which will send it into a fatal bleed out. Honestly, this feels like a very clean Hulk answer in practice for me. As far as the enemy dropships, you can destroy them in 2 shots to the thrusters, but as this is unlikely to actually eliminate the bots it's bringing in, I would heavily advise against wasting your limited ammo on this. Gunship performance ends up not being all too bad, but you only got 4 rockets at the end of the day. If you're able to nail their thrusters, you are going to be bringing them down in just 1 shot. Their main hull, however, will take 2 shots to bring down. These can move through the air pretty quick, so leading appropriately or making good use of that laser targeting system is going to be necessary here. If this is your only anti tank solution, this is also the first target that you're likely going to feel overwhelmed by, as 4 rockets on a 2 minute cooldown is not going to be enough to keep up with heavy gunship fabricators or patrols. But it will supplement a loadout or your team's efforts against them very nicely. Factory Striders are a bit tricky for the commando and can only be destroyed by it when firing into their belly, which, given the explosive area of effect and knockback, will be a bit tricky to perform. Firing all 4 of your rockets into its head will prove to be insufficient, unfortunately. Recommend coupling this with some air support to break the head open, and then 2 shots from there should do the trick. That'll about do it for the automatons heavy, so how about the Terminids? Well, this is where things are going to get a bit tricky and honestly pretty interesting. Overall, the difference in breakpoints for this faction are a mixed bag for the commando compared to the recoilless rifle or EATs. Starting off, let's talk about the Behemoth Charger. Now, these guys are far more common than their little brother on difficulty 9 and have some key differences in health on both their legs and head, making it so you need to be moving forward to strip the legs with the ATs and recoilless shots in 1 hit and need 2 shots to kill through the head. The commando, however, will always take 2 shots to strip a leg and always take 2 shots to kill through the head, just like its competitors. Comparatively, this means the most convenient method of killing a behemoth is just 2 headshots for the commando, while the recoilless and EATs are going to prefer the forward momentum leg strip method, taking it out in 1 shot with some primary weapon follow up. If that bit about momentum sounds confusing to you, I suggest checking out this video I made last week covering how to kill these guys in just 1 shot with anti tank weapons, as well as strip their armor in 1 shot. As far as Titans go, this weapon shares a breakpoint here with the recoilless and the ATs, which is great news. It's just 2 good dead on headshots to take these big boys down through the head. However, you need a perfect angle to do this. Otherwise, you're going to see one of your shots deal half damage, meaning you're going to need to fire a 3rd rocket. Practice definitely makes perfect here, divers. All right, that was pretty quick and to the point, wasn't it? So, how good is this thing really? Well, in my opinion, the MLS-4X Commando has returned in a pretty big way to the battlefield and is an absolutely top tier pick when it comes to automaton blitz missions, especially. The breakpoints this weapon has are very favorable despite being less damage than the standard anti tank rockets. Its ability to clear spawners, especially fabricators, is unmatched in convenience by anything short of an orbital laser call in. The laser targeting system allows for a very forgiving user experience at long ranges, and even if you don't hit the weak points you intended, the heavy staggering effect of the weapon ensures you won't receive retaliation before that you can line up your next shots. Overall, the only true weakness you'll be experiencing with this launcher is it does not feel appropriate as a main tank class solution in a loadout, or at least must be handled as a supplement to a team's ability to clear tank class enemies, as 4 rockets will struggle to keep up with the demands of your support slot on difficulty 9, especially if you take this into an automaton mission with gunship patrols, which is going to be the only mission that I strictly advise against taking this thing along. As for myself, though, I'll definitely be taking this launcher with me to many 20-minute defense missions to complement my squad mates' EAT Graveyard, as well as to automaton blitz missions where I'll be destroying every base on the map from spawn with my spear, walking barrage, and commando loadout. Overall, I award the commando a 8 out of 10 for the bots and a 7 out of 10 for the bugs. Thank you for watching till the end, and have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Oh shit! Get in the ship! Get in the ship! Get in the ship now! Oh, oh god!
Drama.
Get in the ship!
10 seconds.
Get in the ship! Oh no!
You said drama, okay?
Oh god! Oh! Oh no! No. How could this unfortunate casualty ever have been avoided?
Well, first off, I could have not been going for a Trader Barrage as it was counting down.